Why is the voice so important in perceived attraction from the opposite sex? Simply because it displays your hormones and thus quality of your organism. A man with an effeminate voice is likely deficient in testosterone. The root word of testosterone is testicles, which is where the hormone testosterone is produced. This lack of testosterone really means a lack of gonadal activity. The gonads are the producers of all that is a man. His secondary sexual traits all come from the gonads, and if the gonads are impaired or unhealthy, they won't produce sufficient secretions to be able to fully develop those masculine characteristics, including a deep and resonant voice. Why is this important? Because it signals a man's fertility, and signs of fertility are perhaps the most important gauge of attractiveness to the opposite sex. A deep voice conveys to others that you are fertile and thus healthy in organism. A man with a thin, weak voice indicates a lack of fertility, and thus not an ideal candidate for procreation. Other men also don't respect this, as the association with a defective organism only hurts their own social value. We know that the secretions of the testes are important for preserving masculinity, and that the loss of these secretions can lead to effeminacy. There was an old tribe among the Pueblo Indians who used to purposely effeminize selected men known as mujurado by masturbating him frequently and making him ride on horseback to stimulate the loss of these secretions. Over time, he developed mammary glands, a high, thin, cracked voice, round, soft limbs, and shrunken genital organs. But how does any of this apply to today's men? Today's men grew up with a handheld device that can provide 24/7 adult entertainment within seconds, and as a result, I suspect the frequency of this solitary habit has skyrocketed since the smartphone's inception. And as a result, masculinity has declined sharply. My visceral reaction to hearing the voice of a man that doesn't sound manly is often the impression of him being weak, or even deviant. I can't explain this well, but many people get this instinctive feeling when meeting a man whose voice is overly feminine. It lacks the presence of the masculinizing hormones, whether that be by sexual depletion or lack of activity, whether a pervert or an asexual. A deep voice signifies balance of the manly traits and presence of his manly elements, his strong sexuality, and this garners respect and attraction. This isn't a call to abstinence for the regular person, just a warning of excessive indulgence in the loss of your seminal secretions. Most women aren't consciously aware of all this, however their biology is on some level conscious of the connection between the man's voice and the quality of his organism. Much of our habits and proclivities are thus revealed to others through our voice, and as the saying goes, nature reveals all. Consider the beauty and grace of a stallion in comparison to the castrated horse, the gelding. The stallion who has his secretions intact is the horse that most impresses others. Its traits are the highest quality. Its nature is powerful, its will strong. The castrated horse, the gelding, is known for its obedience, passivity, and is not as beautiful as the stallion. When thinking of your own voice, consider this difference between the stallion and the gelding. This is the difference between sexuality and depleted sexuality. I hope this is making sense. Your voice reveals your manhood, and your manhood reveals your fertility. Habits that drain your essence will likely drain your fertility and thus affect your voice. Be careful of the habits you choose to keep, for over time they will become you.